Hi everyone, this is Dr. Michele Alignay, your family psychologist. Welcome to Coffee Break with Dr. Michele. I'm going to have conversations with you about family life, relationships, and faith, and I hope you join our conversations here at this YouTube channel. Good morning, friends. Welcome to Coffee Break. It's another Thursday, another blessing, another day to be grateful for what we have, and another day to sit down, say hi to the roosters, say hi to the challenges we have in our lives, and have coffee, have daldalan, and just be with each other, just support each other on our way to growth, on our way to wellness, and our way to being the best version of ourselves for ourselves and our loved one. I am excited to be with you in the topic that I have for this day. Ang pagkakaalam ko, yung topic ay nahihirapan akong mag-isip this week ng topic. But you mind you, friends, maybe the Lord will always lead me to the right topic because I may not need it, but I may need to share some input with you. And I believe baka marami sa atin nangangailangan nitong topic na to. Sabi ko sa inyo, let's talk about topics. Good morning, Ma'am Malu, Doc Malu, Doc morning, Yang. Good morning, Maria Monica. I would like to join you with you in this topic called Art of Acceptance. Oh my God. Talagang kailangan natin pag-usapan yung acceptance. Talagang kailangan, specific topic siya for coffee break. Sa tingin nyo ba, may mapupulot kayo this morning? Parang napakadali naman yan. Bakit ko ba ito naisip? Alam nyo, because a lot of the root of a lot of problems in relationships, a lot of roots of issues, personal struggles, in some workshops that I've been conducting, and people that I've been talking with, laging may struggle. And you know, that very basic thing na nakakalimutan natin. Good morning to everyone. Ang basic thing po natin nakakalimutan is that simple step of acceptance. Yung bang napakasimple niyang isipin, pero pag nandun na tayo sa sitwasyon, napakahirap. Friends, are you with me this morning? Share this to family and friends who might need it. Pero I would like to ask you, let's become more personal. And I will also journey with you with some of my own personal struggles so that we'll understand the concept of acceptance better. Ang tanong ko po sa inyo, meron ba kayong mga sitwasyon sa buhay na realidad na or maybe in the past, maybe now, hirap na hirap kayo or tayong tanggapin? And the problem with acceptance is that we don't acknowledge that it is a personal process because the tendency for us is to nitpick, to point fingers, and to compare and to blame other people, our circumstances, other things outside us. But self-acceptance is a very difficult process because when we start accepting, ibig sabihin, ang babaguhin natin is sarili natin. One of the theories in psychology, his name is Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl is one of those jailed during the time of the Nazis in Germany. And yung kanyang libro, I think The Man's Search for Meaning, isa sa sinabi niya doon na napakabigat, pero hawak-hawak ko yun. So imagine nakakulong siya, and after that nakakulong siya. Pero after niyang makakulong, nakagawa siya ng kanyang sariling theory in psychology. At ang paborito kong sinabi ni Viktor Frankl is that when we can no longer change the situation, we only have to change ourselves. Kaya po napakahirap pag-usapan ng proseso ng acceptance kasi a big part of acceptance is really all about us, and that is actually self-confrontation. So, ang dami nating pinagdadaanan ngayon. So, friends, join me as I discuss about the art of acceptance. Let's make it light, let's make it fun, and let's laugh at ourselves and the difficulty of our situation. ang gusto kong tanungin sa inyo, friends, what are the things that sa dami-dami, sobrang dami talagang nangyayari, 'di ba? Hindi mo na alam kung ano yung uunahin mo. Press heart, press like, at press whatever you can just to share with me. Ganun ba yung pinagdadaanan nyo? Yung parang sobrang daming nangyayari, hindi natin alam kung ano yung uunahin. So, let's go into that. So, ano yung mga too much happening all at once? So, there's our work from home situation. We're still here, friends. We're still in quarantine. Kahit anong letters na nasa harap, nandyan pa rin yung queue. We're still in quarantine. And even if we are in the general community quarantine, for one, I don't want to leave the house. I just want to stay home. I want to be safe. So, ayan, alam ko maraming nakaka-relate sa atin. Too much things happening all at once. Let's use the word na sa Tagalog, napakalalim na Tagalog, na hindi ka na magkanda ugaga sa uunahin. Parang naghahang na minsan yung utak kung anong uunahin natin, and that is very true. So, I think another situation that we're dealing with now is what we call the new normal. Yan yung the main reason why I talk about this is that we are really threading to the new normal, na hindi yung mga ways natin dati, hindi yun yung applicable right now. Hindi, and then the more we resist it, the more it will cause us harm. And the more na, sabi nga, ikaw rin ang masasaktan. Tayo rin yung mahihirapan pag hindi natin ginawa. Another struggle that for you, the parents like me who have school-age kids, parang, oh my God, the school. What about the schooling of my kids? Ako yung magtuturo? Ako yung mami eh. So, anong gagawin ko? So, we have to embrace the fact na we cannot be fragmented in how we think about school, because the home, we are going to school our kids at home, and hindi pwede na school lang yung in charge. We need to be on top of our children, right? Monica, she's my 6-year-old Pia, is watching with me. She's asking if you can say to her, hi Monica. It's so nice to see you and say hi to, I'm saying hi to Pia. Hi Pia. And also I would like to greet Lola Pasing. Lola Pasing Miravite. Lola Pasing is 90 years old today, and she is the mother of my dearest Mother Fides Reyes. And you know what, friends, when we went to Holy Land last February, bago mangyari ang lahat, Lola Pasing was there with us. Yes, at 89. She braced through every activity, everything that we almost did, hanggat pwedeng siyang makapunta with her wheelchair. Pag hindi pwede mag-wheelchair, lalakarin niya. Sabi nga namin, kung kaya niya, kaya namin. Kung kaya 90 ng 90-year-old, kaya rin natin to, friends. Kaya rin natin maging accepting. So let's go back. Kids schooling from home. The realities of your kids' digital use. Hindi na pwede na parang, okay, yung gamit mo ng computer nung araw, yun pa rin yung i-apply natin ngayon, right? So another, di pa rin ako pwedeng mag-travel. Ayan, friends, ito nakita ko sa maraming feeds na parang, okay, what about my travel plans? Okay, I think I mentioned this the other day, na I think this is really the time na we have to pause our kaartihan. And, you know, just to revamp ourselves. We just have to retool ourselves on how we're going to, yes, we all have travel plans. Pero ang alam nyo, isa pa nagka-struggle tayo. What about my 2020 plans? Naka-line up lahat ng plano ko. Yung family goals namin. That's my book. But anyway, yung family goals namin, yung aming vision board, how will we work it out? Scrap it out. But hindi ko siya ma-scrap out. Nakaplano na talaga kami. You know, plans are there. And I'll tell you why tayo nahihirapan. That's so arte, no? The outside world, ito ang nangyayari. There's too much thing happening in the outside world. Too much thing happening in the political sphere. Pero, ayan, hindi natin siya kayang kontrolin. And that is creating us a lot of stress. Kaya ako, I just look at the headlines and then I don't really watch the news because I am choosing where my energy goes at the moment. Another one, yung ugali ng asawa mo, kapatid mo, at ng anak mo, yan yung pinakamahirap tanggapin in the whole wide world, friends. Nakaka-excite yung topic, no? Sana you will learn something from it. Ano pa hindi mo matanggap na hindi ka pwedeng lumabas? Friends, ano pa po yung hindi nyo pwedeng matanggap na hindi ka pwedeng lumabas? Na yung standard mo ng pagkain, kailangan mo i-shift kasi yung ingredients na kailangan mo, hindi mo mahanap sa grocery ngayon. Tapos inis ka. Na there are days that you are not okay. yan yung isa sa bagay na dapat natin tanggapin. I'm hearing a lot. Of course, we have to be positive, but we cannot be ultra positive a lot of situation. You know why? We're becoming too positive. Baka naman feeling natin, baka naman you have to check yourself, nababypass natin yung mga nararamdaman ng ibang tao. Kasi baka sa kanila, they are struggling with accepting sa situation. Ikaw parang, okay, bring it on life, bring it on crisis, bring on COVID, kaya kita. It's good, but we also have to acknowledge, hindi ka nahihirapan at all. Hindi ba tayo nahihirapan? Ako ba, mukha ba akong nahihirapan? Nahihirapan din ako, friends. Magaling lang ako mag-makeup at magaling lang ako magdala. I just choose to have a more positive disposition, and I choose to do coffee break because this is also, for me, my way of sharing what I can in my, sabi ko nga, in my own corner of the world. So ngayon, let's go. Hi, Mara. Hi, Merly. Hi, Harriet. Hi, Nika. Ayan, ang ating mga other friends from my own Facebook group. So, here, alam nyo, pero sa totoo lang, ang pinakamahirap, mas mahirap tanggapin, eto na tayong COVID, we are pushed to the wall with our situation, pero ito yung pinakamahirap tanggapin. And I believe sa maraming pamilya, ito yung nag-unfold ngayon. Ang pinakamahirap pong tanggapin ngayon is accepting your family, accepting na ganun yung ugali ng tatay mo, ganun yung ugali ng nanay mo, and wala ka nang magawa kahit na gusto mong may gawin. Another one, you cannot accept the weakness of your partner. So what? Your partner is not the planner. So what if your partner is not the very organized type? So what if your partner is works very differently from you? So what? You are not him. He is not you. So you have that's a major struggle of so many couples. They're trying to make their partner fit in their shoes only to realize na bakit hindi siya tulad ko. And you know, this does not unfold pagkakasal nyo. This unfolds pag magkasama na kayo, pag na-stuck na kayo sa bahay in the quarantine situation. So another one, you have to also accept your difference with your child. Why am I saying this? Yung standards mo sa paggawaing bahay, yung anak mo, pa lang. Of course, nag-training din tayo. We started somewhere when you were in grade school or high school sa chores sa bahay. And also, ang hindi natin matanggap, bakit yung anak ko, she cannot study in the dining table, she cannot study in her study table, pero pwede naman, pero bakit hindi niya magawa? Ako po yun. Hindi ko talaga nung una matanggap, bakit yung anak ko, she's not studying the way she's supposed to be studying, like sitting on the table and just, you know, doing things, because when she studies, sometimes bumubulong ako. Kung mag-aral siya, minsan nakadapa sa sahig. Minsan, naka-handstand. Ang galing niya ha. Yung book niya nandun sa floor, yung kamay niya nandun sa floor, tapos yung ulo niya nandun sa sofa, at yung paa niya nandun sa pader. Galing! Ang galing-galing niya! Naintindihan? Naintindihan naman niya. Maganda naman yung grades niya. Napakaganda ng standing niya sa class. Nag-honor pa nga siya eh. But then, they're different. So, iyan isang bagay pa. And also, you cannot accept your reality. You cannot accept. Ito, friends, alam ko marami tayong makaka-relate na there's a lot of us na ito yung sitwasyon ngayon. There's a lot of us that we have to do cost cutting in our budget sa bahay. Anak, hindi na pwede itong luhong to. Hindi na pwede kung ano na lang yung gusto natin ipapadeliver natin. Hindi na pwede yun na kung gusto mo ng ganitong, gusto mo ng ganitong bagay, pero saan mo naman gagamitin sa panahon ngayon? So, I believe those are part of our everyday acceptance, everyday struggle. At ang pinaka-worst na hindi natin matanggap is sarili natin. I have to say that the most that it's hard for us to accept is really ourselves. And that is so hard. Self-acceptance is so different. So different. Ang isa sa pinaka hindi mo matanggap, bakit mas malaki yung balakang mo? Sorry, ako yun. Bakit mas malaki yung braso ko? Hindi ko talaga matanggap yun dati. Bakit ganito yung shape ng mukha ko? Bakit ito, ayan. Pero friends, alam nyo, the magic in life, the magic of it is that when we start accepting it, we become a different person. And I believe that's why we unleash our potential. We can become the best version of ourselves. And let me use the word flourish. We can flourish as a person if we come to terms with the circumstances, with the people we love, and we come to terms with ourselves. We have accepted ourselves. Because how does lack of acceptance, kung itong mga issue natin, you name it, we have it. Yung mga issue natin, pag hindi natin natanggap anong nangyayari sa atin, there's sadness. And yung iba, sa sobrang hindi nila matanggap na they cannot cope with life, there's of course depression. And there's a lot of frustration. Alam ko, nangyari na sa atin lahat na to. Raise hand kung sino na dito yung na-frustrate. Dahil pinipilit natin ipagpilitan ang isang bagay na hindi mapilit. Can you relate with that? Pinagpipilitan natin yung isang bagay na gusto natin ipagpilitan pero hindi talaga mapilit. Raise hand if you can relate with that. Frustration. Feeling of being stuck. Parang ano na ba? Bakit ba itong emosyon na to parang weeks na nakatambay pa rin sa akin? Bakit ba yung inis ko talaga dyan sa taong yan? Parang, wow, sang galing yung puot, sang galing yung inis, sang galing yung minsan galit na. And of course, that also leads to bitterness. Parang, bakit siya? Parang di naman siya naaapektuhan. Bakit ako parang naaapektuhan ako? Ayan. So, instead of becoming better, we become bitter. Ayan ang pinaka-worst. And of course, minsan anger. Yung bang hindi malaman ng ibang tao, bakit ka galit sa kanya? Bakit ka galit? Pero, when you come to think of it, wala naman reason for getting angry. And that is the reason why. And then minsan, kung yung galit, we don't want to deal with the person, we just become indifferent. Anong indifferent? Nagiging indifferent tayo. Wala na tayong pakialam. Wala na tayong emosyon. We become stoic. Ayan, salamat sa lahat ng nag-raise hand sa tanong ko. Sino nandito yung nakaramdam ng mga bagay na pinagpipilitan? Raise hand. Thank you for raising hands, friends. Yan ang gusto ko sa ating mga coffee breakers. Yan ang tawag natin sa sarili natin. Coffee breakers. Yan ang gusto ko. We're very honest. You know, in this journey that we're doing, nagiging honest na tayo sa sarili natin at saka sa isa't isa. And then, my question is that the worst thing that can happen is we become less loving and we become unkind, less loving about ourselves and less loving about other people. And we do not want that. And the question here is that when these things happen, pag naramdaman natin na itong mga nararamdaman na ito, then we have to do something about it. Why? Because these feelings, as I told you many episodes back, feelings always point us to our personal need. Pag tayo nagalit, pag tayo nainis, it's not about the other person that triggered the anger. It's not about the circumstances that makes us frustrated. Sino kasi, that feeling is uniquely ours. Can you say that with me? My feelings are uniquely mine. Say, my feelings are mine. And once we own our feeling, aangkinin natin yung nararamdaman natin. And we have to label the feeling. Kung ano man mauna dyan, very good. You know why? Because sometimes hindi natin malabelan yung nararamdaman. But it's good for us to acknowledge na I feel something. I am not feeling good about this situation. There's something that person is triggering me. And sometimes we cannot name our feeling, but it's good to own na meron tayong nararamdaman na hindi natin gusto. Parang hindi ko gusto yan. I am not feeling good about this. And then it's good to pause. Remember the power of pause? It's good to pause and acknowledge that. And then when the second step, you have to label it. Own it. Angkinin mo, okay, naiinis ako. And then you label it. Kung hindi mo mahanap yung words, and then it's okay, just park it there. But it's good to acknowledge to yourself that there's something that is not making you feel good. And once you do that, and once you label that, you know, after a while, when you have settled, when you have taken that pause, and you own that feeling is uniquely mine. Pause, angkinin mo, akin to, because that's only yours. No, something and someone may have triggered, but it's only yours, and then it will point you to a need. And then once you have labeled it, ask it, it's pointing you to a need. And many times, this feelings is pointing us to lack of acceptance. Kaya tayo na-frustrate because we're struggling. Kaya natin hindi matanggap yung sitwasyon ngayon. Ito, I have to drop this na. Because our priorities are not in line with our realities. Gusto mong magawa yung travel plans mo. Gusto mong magawa yung business goal mo. Gusto mo halimbawa, meron kaming bahay na gustong bilhin eh. Gusto mong i-insist kung ano yung mangyayari, kung ano yung gawin mo, but circumstances are not very cooperative. And then what do? Either you choose to wreck yourself, getting more frustrated, or just sit down, pause, acknowledge the emotion. I'm not telling you to surrender to it, but there are times that you just need to succumb to that feeling of emotion. Dr. Stephen Seidroff, in an article, no, this is different. He said that how accepting you are is the fastest path to change. How accepting you are, hindi ko sasabihin dito that you have to accept abuse, you have to accept racism, you have to accept bullying, you have to accept an anti-human and well-being deteriorating actions. But I would like to invite you to look into yourself and your attitude about certain situation, because the attitude of acceptance can be our tool. The art of acceptance, the attitude of acceptance can be our tool to transform our experience. Why is that? In this quarantine situation, one of my biggest reflection is that it is inviting me to reflect on the more important things in my life, to hone my personal skill, and to just change things from within. Kasi ang daming bagay sa labas natin na hindi na natin ma-acknowledge. So, Je, I would like to answer you, but remember, I'm not talking about anger. I'm talking about acceptance. How to handle if there is such a person in your life that triggers you to get angry. If he triggers you, you have to accept that you are angry and that person is triggering you. But you have to accept that source of frustration that make you angry. Because we have to move in accepting also that some people are not the way we want them to be. We are also not the way we want them to be. Kaya tayo nagagalit kasi there's a misalignment. There is a disequilibrium. There is an imbalance of things happening in our system. Kaya tayo na-frustrate, kaya tayo nagagalit because it's not in sync with how we want things. The attitude of acceptance can transform our experience, and then that's my invitation to you, friends. That attitude of acceptance. Can I just share some personal things with you? Kami nung husband ko, we've been married for 17 years. 17 years. And when we started going out and nagliligawan kami, alam ko na meron kaming big difference. Yung big difference namin, I am a panganay, I am very organized, I am structured, and siya, he's an only child. He's more spontaneous, and he has his own time and he has his own pace. I know it's a fact that it might be a source of difference, but I know that we love each other. But I said na, hey, we will drive through it. Lo and behold, fast forward to 10 years, that's still my issue. Parang sabi ko, ba't hindi siya magbago? And lo and behold, fast forward to a lot of things na nangyari sa buhay namin, hindi kaya episode na to para ikwento ko sa inyo kung ano yung nangyari sa buhay namin. So let's say that we are confronted with sickness. He is confronted with sickness. And analyzing things, being the psych person that I am, I have to come to terms that also my pace and my direction might not be the fiber that he is accustomed to, meaning the very cells and the very fiber of how he is raised and how he grew up, it's not the way I was raised. And that alone, I have to slowly accept the fact that we are different. He has his unique strength. But lagi na lang may confrontation na magkaiba. Yun yung art of acceptance. Hindi ko pwede pong sabihin sa inyo lahat. I cannot give you all the steps, but I can give you, I cannot give you all the answers, but I can give you the tools for you to be able to, ito pala yun, ito pala yun, and then bubuhulin nyo. Why? Our circumstances are very different. Kaya it's so hard to talk about psychology and especially family psychology because in the Filipino context, things are very different. It cannot be one and all, but I can just offer principles. I can just offer with you valid truths and probable steps. Pero everything, it's up to you, friends. So there, so in the process of that sickness, you know, we are changing. Kaming mag-asawa yung nabago. And the thing is right now, in this pandemic, you know what I'm thankful about? Na pinagdaanan namin yung struggle na yun. Let me just tell you, we started with those struggles 2010. 2020 po ngayon, we're hitting the 10th year mark. And as we are growing into adults, as we are growing into a couple, you know, in the parang second decade of our marriage, it's just so beautiful to understand. Buti na lang, Lord, hindi kung kailan pandemic at saka kami stuck with our own issues. Why? Because I have, thank God for His grace. We have come to terms with our differences. Lazo, I would like to catch what you're saying. Why when I confront him, he shuts me off? Because maybe you are different. You deal with conflict differently. And how you want things done may not be his way. If you will go back to our topic, okay, how to accept that I am jealous and that he is over-friendly and flirty, well, you have to check also your own issues and insecurity. I have to drop that word already. Because jealousy, it's also an invitation to look at ourselves and you look at our security. So let me move on. So Dr. Steve Taylor, in his article in Psychology Today, a website that I so love, he said, an attitude of acceptance can neutralize unpleasant and irritating experience, even sometimes transform them into unpleasant ones. An attitude of acceptance, because when we accept, and then there's frustration being converted into growth, opportunity, and also if there's also anger, and then maybe there's more peace. It's so hard. I would like to answer all your questions, but I don't know your context all the time. You are the one there. I am the type, I have to put this disclaimer, I'm the type of say psychologist or expert because of my counseling background. I don't give you solid solutions. I journey with you to find what works for you. Because if I give you my solutions, my solution might not be the best fitted solution for you. So let me just give you principles. Let me give you reflection points for you to do it yourself. The essential tool to move from trauma, difficulties and struggle is really acceptance. Ang tanong ko with friends, dun sa struggle nyo, even your partner, did you accept them already that they are like that? Because once we do that, and then we can move on. So we have to transform through suffering, experience a moment of acceptance when they give up. Okay. Ang acceptance happen once we start resisting, na nagagalit tayo, naiinis tayo, when you start resisting the change, and maybe kaya nagkakaroon ng conflict, kaya nagkakaroon ng struggle kasi hindi natin tinatanggap kung ano yung way niya. Kaya ang nangyayari, ito kung meron lack of acceptance in relationship, and there's lack of acceptance with our unique differences, unique way of doing things, if there's lack of acceptance there, the tendency is that we want to put forward how we act, how we deal with our loved ones. So the struggle there is not because sa dulo pa lang hindi natin tinanggap kung sino sila, kung ano sila, kung paano sila. The moment that we start accepting that they're different, we can be more loving with them. Pero ang problema, unang hindi natin tinanggap, we become reactive to them. So when we accept, we become responsive. And then we become more loving. And then maybe if your husband, you say that he's malande or flirty sa labas, pero kayo, baka because of your inner struggle with him being that way, maybe he's also looking for ways to flirt with you, but he cannot connect emotionally. You cannot connect emotionally to your loved one because there's resistance and unacceptance of, your differences. So it creates a lot of conflict. It creates more void in the relationship. So you have to reflect on that. Accepting the full reality of the state and stop trying to resist in an adverse way is what acceptance is all about. Acceptance is trying to accept the full state of things and stop trying to resist in an adverse way. Ang hindi ko masasagot, but we don't accept abuse, psychological, financial, physical abuse, friends. We don't accept racism, we don't accept terror, we don't accept bullying, and we don't accept harm. So if an addiction, if that is happening, there's another story for that. It's those are the conditions that we need to act upon. Pero kung meron nga yung before in a talk in the feast, I like the guideline that Brother Bo and the preachers share that it's that annoyance or that's abuse. Kung annoyance lang yan, kahit na maraming annoyance at matagal na annoyance, and then that's a call for acceptance. But if it's abuse and harm, then it's a cause of action. Okay. There. Je, napakalalim ng tanong mo. Ito lang masasagot ko. Simulan mo sa sarili mo. I will be very blunt because you're very open. But a bitter, insecure mom, what acceptance approach should be done by the father? You cannot control the father. You have to start with yourself. You cannot control the children. We have to start with ourselves. And that's the truth in life, friends. Kahit na that's what I've been driving at since earlier. There's too many things that we want to control. Pero right here, right now, the very thing we can accept is how we are as a person and how we deal with the circumstances. If you have shown to be a more loving, more peaceful, and more accepting person, and then that is actually the art of it. That is actually where you start growing, how you start dealing with them, how you start relating with them in more casual, maybe in more civil, and I hope in more loving ways. Because I can sense that if a person has a lot of issues in herself, then you have to start accepting that. So it's essential to differentiate the situation if you would accept or those you should act upon. The guideline, if it's abuse, then you act on it. If it's annoyance or if it's big differences, then we accept. Kung ayaw natin tanggapin, we will be forever blaming other people or our circumstances for the life that we have. But if we would embrace that we need to accept, then that is the key. That is the start. That is the path to, as we said, the fastest path to change. Either change from the people around us or change sa sarili natin sisimulan para that will create ripple effect. Some occasions we change our mental attitude. Ito yung mga pagkakataon we change our mental attitude. But some we change our life situation. So if it's abuse, if it's not healthy, if it's no longer safe, it's no longer fitting, change your situation. You cannot just go forever blaming other people for your circumstances. But some situations, some occasions, we change how we think about it. So, you see, resistance, that's why there's resistance to acceptance. I'll share with you 4 steps that, 4 steps to be able, that I've read from, but I tweak it, adapted from Dr. Steve Taylor, on how we can move from resistance to acceptance. The first one is awareness. Ayan. Lagi kong sinisimulan yan lagi. Awareness. And do you know that I'm doing this coffee break to create awareness with you? But the rest of the action, that's yours. I cannot give you all the solutions. Kaya minsan, I cannot answer all your questions because I cannot remember you all the solutions. Bell, the serenity prayer, that's exactly what I'm going to share. And then, but I'll share it later. First step is become aware of your feelings and thoughts. Remember what I'm telling you kanina? When you're frustrated, it points you to your own need. Your need. So you have to be aware of it. Step 2, give your attention. Attention. Awareness. 2, attention to the reality of situation. And be mindful of your feelings about it. Give your attention. Tingnan mo yung realidad ng sitwasyon. Ay, hindi naman pala sila yung may problema. Okay, may problema sa labas. Pero lalo ko siyang pinoproblema sa loob. Baka kaya ang dapat is to change how you think, how you believe, and how you deal with things. So you have to be, you give it attention. First is awareness of your feelings and thoughts. Second, you have to give attention to the reality. Don't fix yourself on your ideals. Fix on the real, to the reality. Yung ideal nyo, that's your desired state. But I would like to invite you, give your attention kung in the present moment, in the here and now. And the next string. 3, alter. Alter. Replace your thoughts with conscious positive. Replace your negative thoughts with conscious positive. If your negative emotions is no longer helping you, you have to start moving into creating maybe healthy emotional boundaries muna. Replay. Go back to my previous episodes. I have talked about emotional boundaries. So you can start replacing your thoughts with conscious positive. An example, halimbawa lang, when we're in the COVID situation, are you stuck or safe at home? Are you stuck in this situation or are we succeeding in this situation? That's how we start. You know, pag ang pinanood natin at ang pinapakinggan natin ay puro mga negatibong news, negatibong tao, at puro mga bashing and all, friends, yun din yung unconscious state natin. But when we start listening or when we start tuning in to more positive things to help us grow, read or, you know, access videos as such as this, and then we can brace it through. You have to, sinasabi natin lagi, ang hirap fight the negative. You check your surroundings. What's feeding you? Because, you know, remember cancer cells. Cancer cells, nagsisimula yan sa maliit. Pero pag natin ng junk food, sugar, and all these unhealthy things in our system, at hindi natin binagyan ng sarili natin ng healthy food, healthy diet, and then lalaki yung cancer cells. Natin siya. Same with negative thoughts, same with being too emotional, same with our frustration. Pag tayo rin yung nagpapakain doon, so check nyo friends kung ano yung pinapakain nyo sa negativity. Yung surrounding nyo, pwede naman hindi maganda. Remember Dr. Frankel, remember Viktor Frankl, he is in the Nazi camp. He is in a concentration camp. Pero nakagawa siya ng isang mahalagang bagay, and that is logotherapy in psychology. And this quote, as I said, if we cannot change the situation, we are asked to change ourselves. And exactly that. Friends, wala tayo sa Nazi concentration. I am not but when you start altering how you think about things, when you start getting that thought, oops, stop it. Shift. Pag nakikita mo na yung feeds mo, hindi maganda at nakaka-trigger sa'yo, oops, log out. Choose another thing. You have to start doing that. And importantly, so aware, attention, so awareness, attention, and lastly, the third is alter your negative thoughts to positive ones, and then the fourth one, hay nako, this is not A, 3 A's and then L. Sabi ni Ate Elsa, let it go. If there is resistance, let it go. Don't mentally push it away. You have to embrace the situation. Sometimes, yung mga unang sinabi ko na sitwasyon, work from home, new normal, mag-aaral sa bahay yung mga anak mo, pero may teacher na iba, pero ikaw pa rin magmo-monitor, tapos yung boss mo demanding, hindi pa rin pwedeng mag-travel, hindi ka makalabas, lahat to, friends. We just have to embrace the situation. It's not causing us harm. We have to look into how will we gain something good out of it. And we have to start letting go, because the art of acceptance is being aware that it's not so much about circumstances, it's not so much about the person and situation that determine our happiness, our emotional state, or our condition, but it's our attitude towards them. I'll repeat that, napakahaba. The art of acceptance is being aware, fully aware, that it's not about the circumstances or the situation or the person that determines our happiness, our emotional state, and our condition. But it's all about our attitude towards them. How we look at the situation, it's that the very thing that matters. The art of acceptance is really all about attitude. But I would tell you, acceptance is knowing it is what it is. Can you say that, friends? Acceptance is, it is what is it. It is what is it. Acceptance is kung anong nandyan, andyan. Huwag na tayong mag-struggle, nandyan na. So, minsan magka-struggle tayo, bakit? Pero kung ang tagal mo nang bumabakit at nagiging bitter ka na, and then move on, accept. In my book, as I said, I have this book, The Beauty of 40, Embracing the Gift of Midlife. In one of the chapters, one of my realizations in life and in my journey to midlife is that we are called to have, sometimes circumstances calls us radical acceptance. And let me just share with you, what radical acceptance is. Radical acceptance, I call it radical surrender. May mga pagkakataon for us to have radical acceptance where we are asked to have radical surrender. Radical surrender is letting things be. Letting things be is surrendering to the Lord all our longings as we continue to follow Him despite difficulties. The solution to acceptance, to the art of acceptance, I call it radical surrender. Letting things be is surrendering to the Lord all our longings, all that we are, all our insecurities as we continue to follow Him despite difficulties. Kasi baka ayaw nating i-let go. Kaya hindi natin tinatanggap, hawak-hawak natin, itinago natin. I am not telling you to keep it. We have to look at it. Remember, be aware of it, give attention to it, alter it, and then let go if needed. May nagtanong, saan ba pwede bumili ng book ko? You look at my books at Feast, F-E-A-S-T, feastbooks.ph. I think they deliver. But I would end this session with something very helpful for me in my journey to life, in our journey to acceptance. You remember again the prayer for serenity. Kanina binanggit yon. Yes. Do you know that there's a full prayer for serenity is by Rainbow Nebur. And he said this, and this is adopted by Alcoholics Anonymous. And it said, this is the serenity prayer. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Again, accept the things I cannot change. Tanggapin ang mga bagay na hindi ko mababago. Courage to change the things I can. So sometimes that courage is the courage to change our mindset and our attitude about it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I always pray to the Holy Spirit for wisdom. Pero may karugtong yung serenity prayer. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as He did, meaning God, Jesus, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. I'll repeat. Taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to God's will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with Him, meaning with the Lord, forever and ever. Napakaraming bagay sa buhay, friends, na hindi natin matanggap. Napakaraming buhay na nagiging source po ng struggles natin. Napakaraming bagay sa buhay na so hard. But friends, let's move on. Start accepting. Accept yourself first as is, as it is, as who you are, because God loves you unconditionally. This is how I end, and this is Coffee Break. I invite you, if you have Instagram, I will move now to another show called Sister Circle with Vanya Castor. So you look for Vanya Castor or Sister Circle in Instagram. I will move on there for another chikahan, for another topic. Pero friends, tanggapin mo na yung sarili mo, tanggapin mo na yung circumstances, because God will never leave you. Let's pray together the prayer for serenity. God bless you all.